Hi everyone, it's Nicole Spohr here today for Spellbinders with 10 cards featuring the May 2020 card kit of the month called All the Little Things. I am sharing 10 cards created with components from the kit as well as a few additional glimmer plates and dies from my stash, especially some glimmer plates, pardon me, that are part of the Glimmer uh, of the Month kit for May. And then just some other favorite essential dies or glimmer plates from my stash to round out the designs. As I'm putting together the cards, I will talk about what products I'm using, whether they are from the card kit of the month or elsewhere. I've tried to do a good mix where some of the cards feature just components from the kit because I know a lot of you like that. And then some of them are just going to feature some other essentials that you can or don't have to use. You might have something already in your stash that works. Just like last month, I did do a card that features the stamp set included because Spellbinders has started to include some of the dies in that card kit of the month that coordinate with the stamp set, which I totally love. For my first card share today, we are creating a hello themed card. I'm using cardstock from the kit, pre-made die cuts from the kit, and then I'm using a glimmer plate that I believe is from the Glimmer of the Month. I'm going to check really quick. Yes, this You Are the Best is from the Glimmer of the Month Club. You could also do a stamped sentiment or something like that. I'm using some foil. This is the Glimmer variety pack that features Fuchsia Flower, which is the purple color of foil I'm using, Moondust, Speckled, Aura, and Prism. Moondust is the blue color. So I purposely picked this pack because it had two of the colors I want to use for foiling, and I'm actually going to layer my foil. So I've got the Fuchsia Flower foil and I've placed it there with my glimmer plate from the Thanks a Million Glimmer of the Month Club kit. Then this frame is one of my very, very favorites right now. This is a frame that my friend Lori Willison designed for Spellbinders. It's kind of a double rectangle frame. I'm going to foil that with the Moondust foil. So I'm just going to do it all at once. I'm using some low-tack purple tape to hold everything in place and being really careful about lining it all up and getting it exactly where I want. This is some of the blue cardstock from the kit. This card does feature a nice mix of product from my stash and also from the kit. The large hello is actually the Spellbinders Die Delights Bold Type Hello Etched Die. This is any sort of sentiment would work here. I really felt like a lot of the sentiments in the kit this month, there either wasn't a lot of them as far as pre-mades go, or they just weren't working for what I generally make cards for. And if I'm going to make cards, I tend to like to make them so that there's something I can send myself. And so I will often kind of alter those greetings if I can. And I just didn't think there were a ton of greetings in the kit this month. So it lends itself really well to making your own cards. I did die cut my sentiment, that bold type hello, from cardstock and mirror cardstock from the kit. We're just going to offset those, layer those two pieces, and then we're going to put it together. The rainbow, however, that pre-made rainbow die cut, probably one of my very favorite things in the kit. I almost considered making two very similar cards. I opted to do something different with my second set of rainbows because remember, the pre-mades in the kit, the little die pack, there's doubles of everything, which is great if you want to use multiples on cards, or if you would want to make multiples of you make a card, you love the design and you want to make more than one, this is a fantastic opportunity to do that. I did it today since I wanted to kind of showcase different things you can do with the product, but you could definitely do that. Like like I said, this is one where I would have done the same card a couple of times because I just really liked it. So this works as a hello and also kind of as it could be a thank you or just a, you know, anytime kind of card. I did trim down my panel. I actually trimmed, by trimming mine, I used a die to die cut this. So it's going to measure 4 by 5¼ approximately. So it'll be slightly smaller than A2 sized, meaning it's going to leave a nice white border all the way around the perimeter of the card. And that was really because and I will be honest, my foiling wasn't straight. Even after all that work and taping it in place, it did not foil straight. So I opted to trim this down so that it would look straight. Then I am popping up my pre-mades with foam adhesive. That's foam adhesive behind the rainbow, foam adhesive behind the clouds, and then even the hello, I'm going to put some foam adhesive on the back of that, making sure not to add foam adhesive where it overlaps the clouds. And we're going to pop that right underneath the rainbow and right above the foiled greeting. I really feel like this card then needs just a little something extra. And for me, that is going to be some of these fun little foam stickers that are included in the kit. This is a great way to use those. I'm going to use some of the little hearts to finish decorating my card design. These little puffy stickers are really fun to use when you need just a little accent or something for your card. These would also be great for scrapbookers or other kinds of paper crafts as well. I used a combination of a little one there on one of the clouds, and then I've got one underneath the sentiments and a couple more up above the rainbow just to fill in the space a little bit and help balance it out. For our second card, we are going to use that Glimmer of the Month for May that's called Thanks a Million. I love this large thanks. And so I'm going to foil this on some of that mint cardstock included in the card kit of the month. And then we're going to embellish this with a combination of flowers and things from that Glimmer of the Month, but then one of the dimensional layered stickers from the card kit. We'll also be using that same glimmer plate frame that we used for the first card to foil kind of all the things. So we've got stickers from the kit and cardstock from the kit, and then we're using other cardstock from the kit with our Glimmer of the Month. Really shows the versatility. If you get more than just one kit of the month, if you get the card kit and the Glimmer kit, for example here, just how well they work together. I've glimmered the large thanks, also the small phrase for all you do. We're using the blush foil. This actually is the foil that comes with the Glimmer of the Month for May. And then we're going to glimmer that frame around the perimeter. We're also going to be trimming or die cutting this background to measure 4 by 5¼ as well. So I'm just trying to be very careful, line this up with my cardstock, tape it in place with a little repositionable tape, and then run it through my Glimmer hot foil system. This month I really was feeling the glimmering kind of lately. I've been doing a lot of glimmering on my cards. I think it's a really fun technique and touch for all of the card makers out there. So much fun. So I knew when I saw this little dimensional sticker that has the little pink kitty batting at a butterfly that I knew I wanted to use this, and then one of the other dimensional butterflies from that sticker set that is included in the card kit of the month. I've tucked the kitty down there kind of down near the base of the thanks, which I think finishes off the sentiment really fun. And then I added the other butterfly kind of intermixed in the sentiment, and then we're filling in with a bunch of die cut and foiled flowers. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail on the foiling for the flowers and the leaves. just to save some time since this is a long video today and we have 10 cards to get to, but I do have another video on my channel that features the Glimmer of the Month for May that shows step by step the foiling and everything for this sentiment, so be sure and check that out. If you'd like to have a up-close video of how to do all of the foiling for this amazing kit. I really, really love this. I think a lot of us do thank you cards, a lot of thank you cards, so the Glimmer of the Month this month is definitely one of my favorites. I love these little groupings of flowers. If you wanted to, you could also just do some of the die cut flowers from the Card Kit of the Month exclusive die set. It's also got some flowers, which I'll be showing some ideas with those a little bit later in the video as well. We're just going to layer together all the little parts and pieces. Again, the leaves, I did gold foil, which I think the gold mirror foil from the kit looks really nice with the blush foiling that we've done with the Glimmer of the Month. And then we're layering like some pinks. There's 2 shades of pink cardstock in the kit, and then the white cardstock for our flowers. So a mint and pink card design for this one. So my next 3 cards are all going to be the same design, but they're all going to feature a different pattern paper from the kit and then some butterfly stickers and things like that. Just different cardstock colors and different pattern papers. No other dies as far as the background. Those were just pattern papers and cardstock and mirror cardstock trimmed down to fit the card base. So we've just layered those background panels. And then we've die cut the exclusive dies included in the kit with this beautiful gold foil frame. So that's going to be featured there. And then we're going to just adhere a cardstock piece to that. There's 2 different pieces. You can see them on the right side of the screen. And then we're going to finish with these layered butterfly stickers that are just gorgeous. They've got some glitter detail to them. Really pretty. You get a huge sticker sheet full of these. I used several of these. I did one just on each of the cards. Like I said, I have 3 cards that are the same design, just a different color combination or butterfly. And then I foiled some greetings from the Spellbinders More Sentiments Glimmer collection. And this is a glimmer set that has loads of greetings, and then I did use a coordinating die to die cut the little phrases there to use on my card. But you could definitely use stamps or something else very easily if you wanted to. So it's beautiful like this, but you can see I did die cut some little flowers and leaves and things to add to my card. So let's go ahead and just put together our other backgrounds. I wanted to show you what other background options you can do. I have this yellow version, yellow and gold version, and then a mint and blue and gold version as well. And I pulled the color choices from the butterflies. I picked the large butterflies I wanted to use, and then I kind of went to my pattern paper pack and my cardstock and just mixed and matched from there. Now, once we have our backgrounds layered, our die cut focal point, and then our butterfly sticker and the sentiments, I decided to add just a little touch. They look beautiful like this, but I think the little flower cluster really finishes off these designs nicely. So these little flowers, the little greenery, the leaves, all from the Card Kit of the Month. And all the cardstock is also from there, and I'm just finishing with some little crystal clear gems from my stash. These would make a great gift. If you like to give a set of gift cards as a gift, thank you cards are always a really great one to give. You could make up like a set of 10 of these even. I bet there's enough butterflies to be able to do that. And you could simply create a whole set of these, tie them up in a pretty ribbon. Sometimes I've seen some little, I used to get them I don't currently have any, but you can get clear boxes that you can tuck all these cards and envelopes in, tie it up with a pretty ribbon, make a little gift tag using leftover pieces from the kit, and this would be a super great gift to give someone. I'm using my Spellbinders Tool-in-One, the stylus tip, to kind of round out the flowers to give them a little bit of shape, and there's just a little peek at the finished 3 cards. So we are up to 5 cards. We have 5 left, and we are going to go back to super quick and easy. So this is completely made from pattern paper, foil cardstock, and the pre-mades from the kit, and that is it. This literally came together in minutes. We're trimming down the pattern papers to fit the card front. I did trim them to 5 1/4 inches wide and then it completely measures 4 inches tall. So that's going to leave a nice white border all the way around our card. Leftover gold foil cardstock just trimmed into a little thin strip that we can use to divide the top pattern paper from the bottom. I like to use something that is a little more tone on tone or subtle up top because that's where we're going to collage our images. I often will do a card like this with the card kits of the month, just showcasing how you can kind of combine a lot of the different elements to make a really successful card. And so we're combining a camera, a little like iced drink, the typewriter with some paper coming out, which also is going to serve as our sentiment that says hello lovely. A little backpack, some tennis rackets, a tennis ball, and then of course the cute little bird sitting on top of the camera. Something to keep in mind is I like to do dimensions. So meaning I like to have some stuff up high and some things down a little bit lower, just to kind of give it a cute collage look. So the bird on top of the camera kind of helps give some height next to the iced drink. And then of course the typewriter is kind of low, but the paper coming out of it goes back up high again. And then we have our backpack and tennis ball, but then we've got the little rackets that are coming up out of the top of the backpack that are up high. And there is that card. So literally just minutes. I did go back to my May Glimmer of the Month and I glimmered the thanks on one of the pattern papers from the kit. So this is a pretty subtle pattern paper. I think it definitely works better if you have a more subtle design, but I love how this turned out. So I picked this pattern paper specifically because I wanted to use the strawberry pre-made die cuts, and I loved how we tucked the little layered kitty dimensional sticker next to the sentiment last time, and I thought the strawberries would be really cute on either side of this one. So we are going to foil everything with that blush foil on the green pattern paper, and then instead of foiling the border, I actually used an Essential Rectangles etched die, which I absolutely love these. I know I talk about them all the time, but it's going to die cut this great little dotted border all the way around the perimeter of the design, which frames it up nice, but when you mat some of the pink cardstock back behind and it peeks through the green cardstock, it looks phenomenal. It's going to tie really nicely into our little pink strawberries and then the pink flowers that we're going to add to the design. All the cardstock, again, is from the kit of the month. So that's the pink cardstock, the green we're using for leaves, the pinks and whites for the flowers. And then I even foiled You Are the Best on some of the white cardstock from the kit. And then we're just layering, again, all of this together to finish it off. You can see I tucked 2 of the strawberries to the right and then 1 over here to the left. So I didn't end up using all 4 of the strawberries. I used both smalls and 1 of the big strawberries from the kit for this card. But I love how the pink looks against this beautiful green tone-on-tone pattern paper background, and it foiled beautifully. So just another idea for you if you are loving the foiling as well, that it does work really nice on pattern paper as well as cardstock. Craft tweezers really come in super handy when working with all of these small little components as well. The sentiment that I foiled there was popped up with foam adhesive along the bottom edge of the card design. Next, we have another super quick and easy card, and this one uses the kind of tie-dye background, which is really fun. I decided to use my other rainbow die here, and we're actually going to position the rainbow down near the bottom edge of the card. This card is another one that features only components from the kit, including the card base, the envelope, our pattern paper, the mirror cardstock that goes along both long sides, and then our rainbow that we're going to pop up along the bottom edge. So just like the first card we created in the video, we're going to use foam adhesive behind the rainbow and the clouds, but this time position it along the bottom edge of our card panel. And then we're going to embellish with a little foam sticker, some of those great dimensional butterfly stickers from the kit, and then the sentiment is another pre-made die cut called "Oh, You Make My Heart Flutter." So really quick and easy, again, just to use all kinds of little pre-mades from the kit, and you end up with a beautiful card design. I really love those little foam heart stickers included in the kit. For my 9th card, we're going to do something kind of similar to this background, and it also features everything from the kit, but we are going to incorporate a little bit of stamping. So I've got another thin strip, another tie-dye design. I love the two tie-dye pattern paper designs in the pattern paper pack. I am going to frame it up again with that gold foil cardstock. I did use a lot of gold foil cardstock this month, and I will tell you that I used leftover from last month's kit to kind of round out because I used so much. I didn't quite have enough to do all 10 of my cards, so some of this was actually leftover from last month's kit. If you guys do that too, this is a great way to kind of use up those little scraps and pieces. We're going to use the two cat pre-made dies, and we're going to have the one kind of flying a little kite here, and then we're going to stamp from the stamp set in the kit, "Oh Happy Day," and foil that in gold to kind of tie back into the gold borders down both sides. Once I have that, I'm actually going to set this card aside. I knew I wanted to add a little something else to this, but I decided to go ahead and stamp the butterflies for this when I stamped the butterflies for the last card, which you're going to see here in a minute. So we'll just set this one aside and come back to it when we get there so I can do all of my stamping all at once. My final card is just like last month, which I am going to link to last month's video at the end of this one if you want to check that out. But I loved last month's stamp set. It had the cute bees and everything in it, and then the coordinating little bee die, so you could die cut the little bumblebee and everything. Really, really cute and fun. And I love this month's too. It's this great little jar, butterflies, some cat images, and then some awesome little sentiments. So to dress this up, I really just kind of copied last month's card as far as my border, which I'm going to die cut. Again, with that Essential Rectangles etched die, so it has a little dotted border all the way around. Kind of helps just frame up the design really nicely. Then I'm going to do my stamping on the colored cardstock. So this is the blue cardstock from the kit. We're going to stamp the image that goes in the foreground first. For this design, the only dies that are included in the kit that coordinate back to the stamps are the butterflies. So there's 4 butterfly dies that coordinate back, but there are not dies for the jar or the cat. So in order to kind of make it all flow nicely, because this is very similar to last month's design where there's not dies for all of the stamped images, I'm going to stamp the cat. I'm going to stamp it again just on some a post-it note is what I did, and then I'm going to mask the part that will overlap so that I can stamp the jar over to the side. So it looks like the cat's kind of sitting in front of the jar, if you will. And then I'm going to color these right over the colored cardstock. Now you want to make sure you use something that will cover that. So a light color of ink isn't really going to work fantastic here, but I'm going to use like some dark grays for the cat and then some blues, which will coordinate nicely with the blue background of this card for the jar to give it that glass jar kind of look. And then we're going to stamp and color the butterflies on a separate piece of paper, die cut those and add those to the card. Really quick and easy. I did make sure and use an ink for Copic coloring as far as stamping all of my images so that it doesn't bleed. And I have listed across the top of the screen the colors of Copic markers I'm using. So if at any time you want to reference that and know exactly which colors of ink I'm using, you can find that information there. We're using a lot of shades of blue for the jar. And I started kind of next to the cat where I wanted it to be the darkest. And then I'm just kind of pulling that color out. So I did dark color and then I blended out with my mid-tone color, I would call it. And then we'll go in with our lightest color and really blend. I'm going to come back to the jar. I went ahead and skipped over to the cat, and this is going to be shades of warm gray. I always like to do fur with the warm gray markers instead of like cool or toner grays. I personally prefer the warm grays. So we've got some nice warm gray markers here. I believe warm gray 6, 7, and 8. And we're going to color in our cat, and I'm doing all my blending first, adding in my darker shadowing and things, and then we're going to go back in with our darker markers and add some like little tiger stripes. So it's a very dark gray kitty with some little stripes in it. And I love this kitty because it's the same design as the card we just made that had the pre-made die cut, and then earlier in the video the cat sticker. So I love that it kind of, the design and things just is all throughout the kit, very, very similar. But this way you can make as many as you want. So definitely we're going to have the cat batting at a little butterfly, just like on that second card we created earlier in the video. I am coloring in now those little stripes all down the cat's body and tail. We'll do a little pink on the inside of the ear. And then we want to kind of come back to our jar and finish coloring this in. So now that we have our cat colored in, we want to go ahead and finish coloring in the other half of the jar, which I'll be using the mid-tone and the lightest blue markers, and then we'll use a little bit more of the darkest one up near the top of the jar, just following the stamping lines basically to add in that additional color. Once all of my shading is done, I did take a colorless blender and added in just touching the tip of the marker to the paper to kind of give some light little areas to give it that look of kind of bubbled glass, if you will. If you wanted, you could always cover the glass with glossy accents when you're completely done. I always think that is a really fun effect as well. And it really gives it a glass-like finish. Once I have that, we're ready to stamp our sentiment, and the jar is the perfect place to add that for the card. We're going to take the 3 lines of text from the stamp set. There's actually 2 other sentiments and then these 3 lines of text that work together. All the little things you do mean so much, which makes this a fantastic kind of thank you card. We're going to stamp those right on the jar. A little tip for doing this is it's 3 separate stamps, and if you put them all on your card at once, just that edge around the clear stamp is going to make them a little far apart. I like to kind of buddy them up a little bit more on my cards. So what I'm going to do is stamp the middle line of text first, the phrase things you do. We're going to stamp that with clear embossing ink. We're going to heat emboss with white embossing powder, and then we're going to remove that stamp from our MISTI, and we're going to put the lines of text, all the things up above that, and then the phrase means so much down below, and we can stamp those at the same time. So if you do the middle line of text first, you can do the other 2 lines of text at the same time. So just a little time-saving trick for you. We're going to stamp all of those again with clear embossing ink and heat emboss with white embossing powder. It shows up so beautifully, which the white would show up on the blue cardstock anyway, but it shows up nicely over the Copic coloring as well. And you can kind of see it all starting to come together, which is really fun. I'm super loving coloring on colored cardstock so that you don't have a white background that you either have to mask off and add color to, or it's just something a little different and a little fun that I think is definitely a technique to try. So here are those other two phrases that we're going to line up and stamp. On a scrap piece of white cardstock then, I am going to stamp the 3 outline butterfly images twice. So we're going to end up with 6 butterflies. And then we're going to be coloring these kind of in rainbow color to add to our card, which is going to add a fantastic pop of color because we've got a gray kitty and then the blue jar on blue cardstock. So far it's pretty muted and neutral, and this is going to be that fun little touch of color that really finishes off the card nice. So we have 3 outline butterfly images, and then we have one that is a solid butterfly that's going to look amazing stamped in colorful inks. And I'm going to show you how I do that here in a minute, because that little butterfly is going to be the one that I use on this card for the cat to be batting at, and then we're going to use several of those leftover butterflies on the card we created before this one to finish it off. So just stamping all of these with an ink for Copic coloring, and then quickly going to color these in. I have listed the colors of Copic markers I'm using for all of these across the top of the screen as well. Shades of yellow for the first one, and I did lighter near the body of the butterfly and darker near the tips. Generally I do it kind of opposite, but I really liked how this turned out. And these are just the perfect little sized butterflies, really fun. Then we got a little red and orange butterfly, plus we have a green and blue. We'll quickly color all of those in. And then die cut these. I love that Spellbinders has started including some dies that coordinate back to the stamp set included in the kit. Makes creating some really fun dimension on cards so easy. To give the wings a little lift on my card, I like to not put adhesive back behind the wings of my butterflies. Or if they're a little bit bigger butterfly, I will often use some foam adhesive, but I'm not going to do the foam adhesive today. Instead, I'm only going to put a little line of liquid glue adhesive behind the body of the butterfly. So I'm going to kind of pinch the butterflies in half a little bit, put some glue just down the center of the body, and then adhere them to my card, just pressing right through the center of the body. That way the wings are not actually adhered, and it gives them a little bit of lift to not be flat to the card. And then we have a little kind of diagonal line of butterflies starting with purple, red, orange, and then this little mini pink one. I'll show you how I stamped it here in a minute when we add it to the final card. Yellow, and then green and blue. So the little pink butterfly was stamped with a light pink ink on the white cardstock, and then just the tips, a little bit darker pink ink was added to those and stamped again, so that it gives it that illusion of two-tone. And then I'm going to take a black pen and draw in the antennae and body of each butterfly. And I ended up with 4 of these. We're going to have one of them on the stamped card we just created, and then these final 3 we're going to add to the card that has the pre-made cats and kite on it that says "Oh Happy Day." And they're going to be the perfect little finishing touch for this card design. I felt like it needed just a little bit of something. I purposely pulled this pink color out from the pink cat on the card. So you're going to see that here in a minute. I'm going to run these through the die cutting machine. And then again, we're going to glue the butterflies to our card by just putting adhesive down the body of the butterfly and not behind the whole thing, so that the wings have just a little lift up at the tips. And look how cute those look on the card. They just tie it in perfectly, and they kind of fill in all of that extra little area. Thank you so much for joining me today for my 10 cards created with the May 2020 Spellbinders Card Kit of the Month called All the Little Things. The supplies I used to create these cards are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos featuring Spellbinders Club Kits that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a new card making video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll catch you next time.